So hey guys, what's up? This is Gerald here. Welcome to another session of Closed Door Session. All right, and today I have someone, that I've known for many years, and I call him Brother E. Okay, and allow me to quickly introduce himself. All right, so he is a founder of Newsmancer, right, an internet marketing, consulting, and digital publishing company. He is arguably one of the top internet entrepreneurs in Asia. Right, and he has spoken in dozens of entrepreneurial and e-commerce events, and also made appearances in media, right, including the Star newspaper, right, Malaysian Today, and Income Diary. And he started his journey back in 2005, right, literally 15 years ago. He's one of the internet's earliest pioneers when it comes to digital private label content. Right. So with that being said, I want all of you to welcome the one and only Edmund Loh. Brother, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for asking.
Welcome to the show. All right. So we'd like to start our show with, a question where it's basically, what does a typical day in your week look like?
Let us know. People actually want to know that. Wow, it was like asking a celebrity question, yeah. Well, this is going to sound a little bit boring. I mean, I enjoy what I do, but I think to other people, it might seem boring. In fact, if anyone here follows me on Instagram or Insta Story, that's where I get a little bit more private, where I talk about, I share content that's non-business related. My typical week would be going for walks, jogs, gym upstairs, hike sometimes, and that's pretty much my routine in a week. I'm sorry to spoil the thing here. Some of you are expecting some kind of magic, like billionaire routine or something like that. There's nothing of the above.
I mean, it's a healthy lifestyle, right? It's
very healthy.
And I mean, lately you have been doing a lot of parkour, and you do all those, trampoline and all this stuff.
Oh yeah, I do that as well. As of the time of this video that you are taking right now, I just learned a new skill last weekend. That's to do front flips, but of course on a trampoline, not on the ground just yet. I don't gain enough height when I jump. But when it comes to like parkour or movement training, that's something I've been doing in the last a few years for the matter. But since my school days, I was already into breakdancing or b-boying in short. So, I'm 34 end of this year. So you and I are pretty much almost the same generation. Like our peers among our age, a lot of them are getting out of shape right now. So to me, I think health is definitely wealth, because when it comes to doing business, or especially online, like what you and I are doing right now, a lot of people don't take care of their health. They neglect it. And I'm hearing quite a bit of horror stories every now and then. So it's very hard to enjoy life if your health is kind of bad. I mean, I could lose my money right now, but I'll be thankful that my health is still there. Money that's lost can always be gained back. That's what I always believe in.
That's true. Right. Yep. So, which comes to the next question. I mean, today, 2020, you're literally one of the top internet entrepreneurs in Asia, right? And it's, I mean, we can see your results and your students' results. In the last 5 years alone, right? You've generated over 9 million ringgit. That's amazing, purely through the power of internet and social media alone. So really, can you share with us how do you get started back in 2005? Because back then, like, this really, this internet probably is like dial up, and then the modem, that kind of era. Share an amazing story. Yeah.
Oh, sure thing. Well, it's quite a journey in itself, but I'll do my best to keep it as concise as possible. But it's good that I get to share it. Now, I want to just clarify about the part about the dial-up 56K modem thing. Users were already starting to get onto broadband at the time. Not really so much a Wi-Fi, but broadband. But because I happened to be staying in a rather rural area at the time called Gelang Patah, Johor Bahru. Today it's nothing quite like that, okay? But back then, it was, of course, you cannot compare it to the likes of Kuala Lumpur and Selangor, the city and urban area. So when I started at the time in 2005, I had just freshly quit my full-time job as an office boy. So I was earning on a starting pay of 800 ringgit a month. And by the time I left, I was earning 1,500 to 1,700 a month, depending on how many hours I clocked in. So that's in ringgit Malaysia. If you had to convert to US dollars, divide by 3.7 as of the currency exchange at that time. All right. Now, The thing was that I managed to save about 4,000 ringgit after working my butt off for the whole year. Imagine eating the cheapest food, trying to cut corners, save money here and there. That was exactly what I did. And you are correct in saying that, the idea of doing business on the internet or making money online was not really didn't capture public imagination yet. So if you told people you were making money online or starting an internet business, like what I was doing at the time, people will look at you with suspicion. Is this a scam or anything like that? And the number of internet marketing public figures at a time is nothing quite like today. All right, today you can throw a stone, maybe you get an internet marketing guru, you see. So
Yes.
there was nothing quite like that at the time. This doesn't mean I'm not the first guy. Obviously, there were, of course, as you know, Patrick Chan was there much earlier. There's Senzi at the time, which originally I read the book from him at the time. It was through him that I got to start on my journey as well. But I didn't know who Patrick was. I didn't know Senzi personally. There were quite some people that were starting out like me. We haven't discovered each other just yet. All right, and of course, I was struggling as you might hear in a very rags to riches story, but to actually live it was a lifetime. Okay, the first 3 months I made absolutely nothing, and even to this day, I mean, I'm not problem free, by the way. Every now and then I get problems and I get challenges just like everybody else. But to this day, I still rank that as one of the toughest time, if not the toughest time in my life, because I was not an entrepreneur. The only experience I had was as an office boy, and that was all I was running on, you see, as a past experience. Imagine if you live your whole life as an employee, right, and you wake up one morning, whether you hate your boss or not, but there's no one to tell you what to do anymore. And that was a scary thing, waking up the next morning and you realize for the first few seconds, it was great. No one telling me what to do anymore. And then I would go like, oh, shoots, what do I really do now? Okay. So it was quite a journey, not only to develop income, but you got to develop that mindset and the resourceful thinking to be an entrepreneur. So first 3 months, made nothing at all. The 4,000 ringgit was gone. I didn't have any relatives to like really reliably ask or borrow money from as well. I mean, we had a very good uncle, but he was not doing very well himself. And it's not nice to ask him for money. And I burned bridges with my friends from the past as well because I was embarrassed about my situation. And also I had a multi-level marketing stint that nobody wanted to talk to me anymore because of that prior to starting an internet business. Let's just say I was the guy full of bad ideas. You don't want to get near this fella. Okay, that was me at the time. And I tried to get another job, but I suspect I didn't get it because, at the time, if you want to get a job in Johor Bahru as a Chinese, right, you need to know how to speak Mandarin. And shoots, I'm a banana, man. Even to this day, all right? So I know there's quite some controversy about the Chinese language today in Malaysia and all that, but let's not get into it. Let's just call it for what it is. I didn't make the cut due to lack of experience and the inability to speak Chinese. That's probably where I can only guess, okay? But whatever it was, I didn't get any job. And thankfully, the electricity, all that was not cut just yet. So that means I still got a chance to make this work. And then one day, I made a freak chance of a sale, 97 USD, reselling a $97 ebook. Back then, you can sell ebooks for $97, $197. Today, you'd be lucky if you can sell it for like $17 to like $50 for that matter. So things have changed quite a bit. So when the first sale came in, I was very excited, but I was also cautiously optimistic because I'm not sure whether this email is real or not. I asked my mom to take a look at it, maybe confirm whether we're seeing the same thing or not. Okay, and but whatever it was, gave us a bit of hope. And then the next few days, that sale came in again. Just to backtrack a little bit, the first sale came from South Africa, which was hard to brain at the time because we thought that the people, normally Americans would buy this whole thing. The rest of the world will not buy. And to come from a country least expected, a South African person, a woman that bought it, was something that didn't make sense to me at the time. Of course, today it's nothing quite like that. Customers can come from anywhere in the world. At the time, the belief was that only Americans would buy because they're the majority of the online customers. So you can see how things were so different 15 years ago and right now. And then another sale came in again and again. And this is basically what I want to say as something I did in the last 3 months. Something worked. How can I repeat more of that? Okay. And I came across a forum through Google called warriorforum.com. I think you may have definitely heard of that. It feels like a lifetime ago, yeah. So I went there and there were all these internet marketing experts. They were talking, they were bantering, and I was lurking. I didn't really post a lot, all right? you see, despite making a few sales here and there, right, we were flying by the seat of our pants. And that means to say that it's only just to get by. We are still a few months behind rent. We're still months behind on the electricity bill and so on. So obviously we need something more than that, okay? And at the time, there was this thing called WSO, or Warrior Special Offers Forum. I'm not sure you've heard of that before as well, Gerald.
I've launched a few myself.
You've launched a few yourself, okay? So at the time, you might have missed out on this as well. You can actually post it for free. This is before they charge $20 to $40, okay? And the condition is that it has to be your own product. And at the time, obviously, I was not smart enough to make my own product. I was reselling an ebook, and clearly I was not able to do that, all right? And what I did was that I saw what other people were doing, and I copied them, okay? But let me clarify on copy, okay? Even back then, when sometimes I find this a bit shocking in a way when people hear the word copy, or nowadays we hear the word funnel hacking, they meant to take it very literally. And I think, we can agree to disagree over here. I think this idea of funnel hacking is overrated nowadays. You can funnel hack all you want, but look, there's nothing wrong with modeling, but there is a problem when you start copying or almost feature for feature or word for word what other people are doing, because people can kind of subconsciously tell that you're just a Me Too marketer, you're just another face in the crowd. And what I did back then intuitively was that it's okay to model what other people are doing, but to add in my own flavor as well. So surprisingly, this was actually the birth or the precursor to private label rights, which I'm going to talk a bit more afterwards. So I saw what this guy called Michael Rasmussen was doing. I don't think people hear of him anymore today, but he was a big deal back in the day, all right? He launched a full internet marketing course with private label rights, and I thought maybe I should do the same as well, but because I'm not smart enough, maybe I'll double the number of pages and at half the price. But it's okay for me because I'm a Malaysian. So anything that earns 3.7 times more is good money for me. Okay, I did just that. I sold my first $20 ebook, or you can call it a booklet because it's just a few pages at a time before I actually evolve it. I sold 6 copies, so it's $120. And $120 is like a lot of money to me at a time. 120 times 3.7, you can actually pay your bills a bit here and there. All right. So I thought, okay, and I didn't pay anything upfront, so the ROI is almost infinite. Okay. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna do it again and again and again. Okay. Then to just cut another part a bit short, right? There was a Russian guy by the name of Dima Sorokin. I remember these names, by the way. All right. He offered to buy the master private label rights to all the works I created at that point in time. I think I created like 4 ebooks or something like that. And he offered to buy it from me for 550 USD. So to me, it's like about 2,000 ringgit, which again seems like big money to me at the time. So what we mean by master private label rights is so that he owns the exclusive rights. He promised me that he'll reward it and everything. Okay, so I got my $550 into my checkout account because Malaysians cannot open PayPal at a time. And about 2 weeks later, I saw him resold the similar product, which I recognize it, and I swore not to tell anyone about it at the time. Okay, but it's really 15 years ago, so it's okay to talk about it now. All right, I'm not even sure what he's doing today also. And I found out he did this thing called product launch, and he made 6 figures. So I earned $550. He made 6 figures. So now, you might think that I got the short end on the stick, and it's true, by the way, but that was what opened my eyes to another concept called product launch. But that time it wasn't called product launch. I think the term was not created, but it is what we call as product launch today. So I thought, okay, it seems to me that he did what I just did, except he got the other affiliates or joint venture partners, okay? So I also, end of the year, I did the same thing, and I thought to myself, okay, I'm just going to email all these gurus on WSO or Warriors Forum. So at the time, people were not as stuck up as today. People were a lot more approachable. So that's why I could approach. And I mean, it cost me an email. And like I said, I was willing to do whatever it takes. Okay, so I went crazy. I wrote my own 5 ebooks, 40 page each. Like one day I was writing 1 ebook. Today I can't do that anymore. I don't know. I guess when I was fired up, I was very different. Like I felt like quite hot in the head or something like that. Okay, and then I sold for 167 USD. I was a bit scared at the time because I'm not sure whether I could command such a price. But this guy was able to sell it for 297. So I thought 167 sounds like a good price. Okay, and then I was able to get a few joint venture partners, and I made my first 8,000 USD in profit. Okay. Oh no, is it profit or sales? I can't remember. But I guess when money is so big, you can't tell whether it's a net profit or revenue, but whatever it was. Okay. And as I mentioned just now in a fleeting remark that a Malaysian cannot open a PayPal account, right? So I had to trust a Singaporean by the name of Joseph Dan. I still talk to him today. He's still around for that matter. He's practically the first Singapore internet marketer that I got to know. It was quite scary because the money was all going to his account. And there was another payment that we accept at the time called StormPay. I don't know if anybody still remembers this. Or it's that dodgy, scammy payment processor. But luckily, I didn't get scammed. I managed to get my money out. But even the reputation was quite bad at the time. If anyone here still remembers words like StormPay and all that, you can tell how old you are already in this business. Okay, so I accepted payments through StormPay and PayPal, but most of the money went to PayPal, which is the Singapore guy. And I remember meeting up with him at Tampines Station for the first time. You see, I was a 19-year-old guy at the time. This is like a late 20s or 30s kind of guy, so he's like almost like quite my senior. Okay, but luckily he's a good, nice guy. And I remember we draw the money out. My mother and I went through the Singapore customs holding the money. We split in between. We were watching for each other, and we carried back home in cash. Okay, Ooh. So by the time we got home, we convert everything into Malaysian ringgits, where we put it. It's quite thin. There's a Scrooge McDuck moment. We throw the money onto the small bed, right, and throw the money everywhere. So it's literally like what you see in those cheesy advertisements about people flashing money and all that. I was really doing it at the time, our own private amusement. Okay, because we have not seen that kind of money before. We were always living hand to mouth, and for the first time in our life, we saw so much money. We didn't know if we could confidently handle them, and all the ideas that came to us. You see, but the thing about my mom is, right, the only way she know how to make money besides getting a job, which she hadn't got a job since then, is that beli empat ekor or buy toto. So to those non-Malaysians or maybe non-Singaporeans, right, that's actually gambling. Gambling is quite like somewhat legal in Malaysia. If you go to those like sports betting and all that, that's okay. And that's the only way she knows how to make money, and she calls that an investment. Okay, I know to us hearing this right now, it sounds ridiculous today, but my mom genuinely believed that. So you can see the people that are not really like financially educated, right? That is the way, And I had to argue with my mom for a while to preserve that money. So yeah, I know we came a long way since then. Of course, we don't talk about it anymore. My mom saw how ridiculous that idea was, but you can see how low level our thinking was at a time before we actually evolved. So yeah, that was kind of like how we got our start and just grow from there.
Now, quick question, right? You mentioned your first sale, South Africa. I'm just very curious. How do you get that sale? Like, do you post do you did article marketing? Do you create your own website? How do you get the traffic? How do you do it? Like,
even to this day, it's a mystery to me also. Because in the 3 months, right, I did a lot of things randomly. I bought solo ads, which didn't work out. Or actually, it's not solo ads, it's co-registration leads. If I remember the name of the website, I think it's called Worldwide Leads, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure whether it's there or Worldwide List, WWL. That's the initials. I remember the initials. I don't think it's there anymore. Or if it's still there, don't trust it, okay? Doesn't work. That's one. You are correct. I did a lot of article marketing, so-called, because it's the only, article marketing was a thing back in the day. You write an article, you put a bio box, hopefully people click on it. I did blogging. I'm not sure people actually visit it or not. So I did a lot of things out there. Definitely not spamming the forum, because I know that it would have been frowned upon. So I even from the get-go, I'm not a spammer kind of person, no matter how desperate I was. But I will put a signature in the Warrior Forum. But at that time, I didn't know what the Warrior Forum was, so definitely that wouldn't have been the source of the sale. So it's probably got to be either the blog or the article marketing. Something somewhere must have worked. Yeah, something somewhere.
All right. And so, wow, that's amazing. I mean, wow. I started 2012, so probably I didn't go through the StormPay and a lot of other stuff. But very interesting.
You didn't miss anything.
Okay, so which comes to the next question here, right? 2020 this year has been really, very interesting year, I would say. A lot of things has changed. You and I, we do offline events. Hundreds of people come to our events and all. But hey, things have changed over, in fact, just a short this year alone, right? Since I think January, pretty March, I would say officially.
March. That's like 5 months ago, almost 6 months.
Exactly. I mean, wow, things have changed. So now, I mean, some businesses closed down, bankrupt. Millions of people lost their job just a few months ago. But really, how did this lockdown, this pandemic, affect your businesses in a good way, bad way, like, or maybe personal wise as well? Maybe you can share
Well, I would
this.
say it went both ways for me, and I'm okay to just share about this because a lot of people perceive that because I'm an internet business guy, this should affect me the least, and I should be happiest about it. But I have to say, just like everyone else in the world, no one would have seen this coming in this form. All right. And let's just say I picked a bad time to double down on live events. Now, if I were strictly 100% online, like what I was doing before this, that wouldn't have been a problem, to be very frank. But I was getting into live events since the year before in 2019. And just when I was getting the hang out of it, then the COVID-19 pandemic happened. And Malaysia was in a state of a partial lockdown, or what we call a movement control order. And all live events were off. And in fact, until right now, even though legally speaking, we can do live events, but I don't see anyone attempting to do it right now. And for very foolish reasons, I don't think anyone should do it as well. All right. So obviously that put a halt to whatever we were doing. But did we lose money? Obviously we did as well, because we booked hotels in advance. We had bought quite some equipment. And to quote this quote from the Heath Ledger's Joker in the 2008 Dark Knight, when all the chips are down, people will start eating each other up. And I saw this manifest in the form of people trying to seek refunds from us. And to me, this is a challenge here as well, because for us, I was given a choice by my business partners and investors to say, hey, why don't you get a refund back from the hotels and all that? You have the right to do so. But I decided not to do it, even though we have parked quite a bit of money with them, or even logistics, or even some of the vendors that we deal with whatsoever, because we do not want to trigger a domino effect of people clawing money from each other. And I think that's a wrong energy to focus on. Don't get me wrong, it was tempting, okay? I mean, we were not able to run events until further notice, and 6 months later, right now, we're still not running any events. But here's the thing. I believe how you do anything is how you do everything, all right? And if we start doing this to other people, wouldn't other people do it to us as well? All right, what goes wrong will come around. Now, of course, this doesn't stop people from trying to do that to us, but we have to set a role model to our clients, to our students that are looking up to us. Because if we see that Edmund Loh and Muse Mensah's, this kind of effed up company, in the side of trouble, this guy drops everything and run away. This is a person that is not made of character. Let's put it that way. All right, and I'm not some kind of samurai bushido code thing going on here, but let's just talk about when times are tough, like right now, right? I believe it's more important that we get tougher, because the most important muscle that anyone can build is the mind. That's what I always believe in. The most important muscle anyone can build is the mind. I tell this to all my students. I tell this to all the people I work with. Did shit hit the fan? Yes. Do internet marketers get affected? Whether for good or bad? Yes, as well. I know some people that are crushing it with e-commerce, but because of the lockdown, they can't send the items out of the country. They get a lot of refunds as well. Some of that downsized. So this is the time here I want to say that, look, there's no shame in admitting that, some of the things I used to believe in have changed. There's nothing wrong with that. Like seminars, I thought it was where I was going to go. I was there for almost a year. And what a way to ground that to a halt. And I told my team, looks like there's going to be no events until further notice. Are you guys ready to adapt to what is going on? Are we in deep shit? Yes, Muse Mensah was in deep shit as well. I tell my clients there's nothing to hide. There's no ego and thing to go at. Because the way I see it, no matter how bad things are going for small businesses, I'm just glad that I'm not Tony Fernandez. That's number one. I'm not a gas station owner. I'm not a hotel owner. Thankfully, always count your blessings. Always be grateful. Always be practice gratitude. Because no matter how bad things are going, I believe the concept of gratitude is all the more important in a time like this. All right. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. Did it affect me in a negative way? Yes. But let's talk about the positive right now. This allows me to go back to my original roots, and that's digital marketing, digital publishing. Okay. So I know, yes, in my seminars I talk about digital marketing, but the irony about doing seminars, as you might also know, is that you start becoming more and more offline in a way. And the thing about internet marketing, maybe it's just me. I'm a very pro multitasker. I focus. I do my work better when I focus. I cannot dip my hands into more than a few places. And when I focus more, I just work better. So this allows me to go back to my original strength, which is digital marketing in itself. It's not so much about running seminars and all that. And instead of doing seminars, we changed to webinars. All right. It's true that our cost has, the prices that we charge has been lowered somewhat, but we know that a lot of people are struggling anyway. A lot of people have been out of jobs and all that. But this allows us to save more as well, because instead of running a flashy event in a hotel and all that, we can just run straight from this home where I'm sitting right now, okay, and allow me to pass the savings back to the people that buy my programs, buy my courses, buy my anything, okay. And that's kind of where we're at right now. And today, my team works from home 3 days a week. Monday and Friday, they'll come to the office for accountability reasons. So this allows them to sort of adapt to what is going on as well. And for our clients, especially in Malaysia, they always like to meet up in person all the time. Now that they have seen the experience, the wonders and the joys of doing online meetings, where if unnecessary traveling can be avoided, that would be great. And I would say that what should have happened in maybe 2028 to 2030 has been accelerated by a few years, and we're seeing it right now. So that's good, and there's bad, and there's also good that came out of it. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now.
Yeah. So I'll guess more on transition towards online webinars, and also your strength, digital products, lead generation, and so on and so forth. All right. And so next question is, you've been in this industry for literally 15 years, 2005, right? I'm sure you have seen all kinds of, you've been through all kinds of things, right? Ups and downs and all this. Like, what are, in your opinion, what are the top 3 mistakes that you think most beginners do that, that prevents them from getting sales or, building a long-term sustainable online business?
All right. I think I get asked this like every now and then, and sometimes I might change my answers depending on the situation as well, because it's very hard. There's going to be a lot of mistakes for people to make, and I'm not excluded. You're also not excluded, as you also know. But I'll tell you more like currently the way I feel based on the clients that I interact with, and more like what's happening at the moment. The top 3 that I'm feeling strongly about would be, number 1 is, depending on how much or how little resources that you have right now, a lot of people tend to overspend more on getting started, that they leave very little for marketing. All right. So let's just say, this happens every now and then. Okay. Someone might be willing to spend 100 to 200,000 ringgits in Malaysia to start a restaurant, but have no money to do the marketing. And I hear this every now and then. So there was a marketer, I think his name was Justin Brook. If that's him, then I probably would attribute him correctly. I saw this post and it made a lot of sense. He articulated it very well. And I'm going to paraphrase what he said here. That's kind of like spending all the money to buy a very nice fancy car with the bells, whistles, and accessories, but make no investment in buying the fuel, pumping for the car to go, or even investing in the know-how to drive that car. And that's what a lot of people are doing right now. They're spending a lot of money on done for use, the business in itself, but they don't spend adequate attention on investing in themselves. That's number 1. And the other one is that they don't save the money to do the marketing. And I have to say that Muse Mansell was traditionally making that mistake for the last several years, because we were relying so much on doing product launches, which is kind of like going back to where I was talking about. We were using the product launch model for many years, and we made a lot of money doing that. All right. But the problem with doing product launches is that you're always depending on other people, and you're also at the mercy of politics, because like if you don't like somebody, you got pissed off, they don't want to work with you, they take a group of friends with you as well. Sometimes things do change as well. They might retire from the business, they're not in the business anymore. Things like that do happen, and now launches are getting a lot more competitive in a shrinking market. I'm not against competition, but if you are competing in a Red Sea market where it's shrinking, I mean, take a look at muncheye.com. There's like how many launches happening in a day right now? How many joint venture partners are there overall, and how big is the audience over there? It's not really that big. That's kind of why we stopped doing launches in that model about 2.5 to 3 years ago. We stopped doing that, and to stop doing that was not an easy decision to make, especially when it's something that we like doing it. Okay, so we started to go into Facebook advertising. Took me quite a while to get there, and I think I learned that part slower than you, but I managed to get it down somehow. All right, so what happened over here was a transformation whereby instead of spending money to create more products, we took maybe like 50%, 60% of the budget or our attention and focus on marketing instead. So what we do now is that we create less new products, but we sell more of them, and that should be the way. Because a lot of people right now, they don't mind spending a lot of money on getting started, but ironically, they don't save enough money on the advertising. So guys, that's traditional big mistake I'm seeing over here. Now, another mistake, I think we should go way past this, but I get this every now and then, and that is the idea that starting an internet business can be done for absolutely free, and that's just BS, all right? Anyone here who has done business long enough, I mean, when I talk to maybe people like you, Gerald, people that are doing 6 figures, 7 figures, or even 5 figures for that matter, okay? You know there's going to be some kind of investment, okay? At least at the bare minimum, domain, hosting, autoresponder, these are like the bare minimum, okay? Or an inexpensive page builder if you want to get started humbly. So how much is the monthly operational cost? Or even Shopify if you're doing e-commerce like Gerald, $50 to $100 a month. That's just my rough guess right now. But of course, if I was to recommend, yeah, there you go. All right, but maybe you just want to set aside a couple of hundred just to be very safe. Okay, but there are people out there that are not willing to spend a single cent on any of this. And if anyone talks like that, your defeat is guaranteed already. Okay, I'm kind of embarrassed to talk about this even until now, because every now and then I hear that. Correct, it's in a mindset. People, they underestimate. It's an insult. Okay, look, it's already fantastic enough that there's never been a time in human history that allows you to start a business for like practically with that kind of seed capital. All right, and if by any chance you don't have that money, borrow it from somebody else or partner up with somebody. Be resourceful, but we see that a lot of that going on. So that's a very typical mistake going on there, okay? And on a mistake number 3 is, yeah, actually I can't think of number 3 right now. I think is it okay? I just stop at this 2.
Yeah,
but
you come to that was number 3.
Yeah, okay, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. I have, in fact, I mean, mindset is really one of the most important things, right? I mean, marketing, technical skills, we can all always learn. Some are faster, some are slower, but mindset is something that you can't just, you can't just like watch one video, or you can't just, upload and download something. It takes time, right? But it's something that we all need to work on. It's a lifelong thing.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, that's good, right? That's good. Thank you for the 3 tips. And so really, let's talk about digital products right now, because this is something that I know you have been crushing it for so many years. You're one of the few ones that are really doing very well that I know personally. The last few person that we had the closed door session was more on Facebook ads, more on what we had, Instagram ads, e-commerce. So digital products, I think this is something that can help many of our members who's watching this. And you have made millions of dollars selling just digital products alone. So you are an authority in this topic. So now let's go basic stuff first. Is there any specific reason why you prefer digital products over physical products or any other method of making money online? There's so many ways to make money online.
Oh yeah. So to keep it very short, I tried doing e-commerce. Doesn't mean I'm going to stop doing it, but I just find that digital products, the profit margin is naturally higher. That's one. It's easier to go middle to high ticket with it as well. Of course, with some clever positioning, and it's a smart way to share your ideas. Because like whether I'm selling an ebook, whether I'm selling a video training, or whether I'm doing coaching as well, if you look at it from a very overarching view, right, I'm still doing digital publishing. Because even like for my mentorship students, right, I still give them homework or a weekly task for them to accomplish. And there's videos that I've already done from before. They just refer to it, all right? And that's kind of where I'm coming from. And this is something that allows anyone with just practically a laptop and a phone, and you can be pretty much on your way. I consider myself an idea guy. I get quite some ideas. So it's something that comes to me naturally as well. So I do have a certain biasness towards doing digital products than e-commerce for that matter. But of course, this doesn't mean that it's a perfect business model. One of the bad things about digital products is that it doesn't have the repeat value of an e-commerce product, especially consumables. So something for you to consider. But if you're talking about structuring the funnel, in my opinion, and of course in my experience, I find that structuring a funnel for digital products is a lot more better. Something you can go deep compared to an e-commerce product. But again, that's just kind of where I'm coming from.
Right. And so, I mean, you have created probably hundreds, if not, I don't know, thousands of digital products.
Okay, I lost count.
Yeah, I lost count, right? A lot over the years.
I stopped counting.
You definitely need some proper system or strategy to keep, creating and churning out these products. It doesn't today I feel good, I'm going to create a product. It doesn't work based on emotions. Can you probably share, like, maybe if you have any strategies or systems that you use, to create these products consistently, kind of like advice on how anyone who's watching this video can, create their first product in that sense.
Okay.
That sounds right.
Okay. Now, I'm going to simplify this because it really is like that. Some of you might have heard before, this is like a very old way of doing this. Like you go on Google Keyword Planner, see how many search results there are on Google and things like that. So, sorry, just a moment. Let me just turn this off for a while so I get no distractions here. Okay, yeah, so you might have heard of those. I don't do any of those, even from the old days as well. So what I did back in the day and was to go on forums like Warrior Forum and see what are the recurring topics, all right? What are people always asking again and again. So to give an example, this was something I can remember very clearly in 2009, was that when I was going through the first 2 or 3 pages of the main discussion in the Warrior Forum, was that people were asking about ClickBank. Now, ClickBank wasn't exactly new even at that point in time. They've been around since 1998, but there seemed to be a peaked or revived interest about ClickBank. So I came up with a private label product about how to make money from ClickBank affiliate marketing, and that, I think it sold about I can't remember how much that was, about $20,000 to $30,000 in sales for something that was created in like less than a week. Just recorded a bunch of videos, and when you look at it, right, it was something that it's not a new topic even to this day. Sometimes you might see some topics that have a revived interest somehow, and that's kind of where you go. Now, today, the Warrior Forum is not exactly a reliable forum to rely on for what's going on right now because the traffic is a lot less today. And there's this thing called social media, which is Facebook right now, okay? So what I do is that I'm part of Facebook groups like Conscious Marketing. It used to be known as Internet Marketing Super Friends. You can be members of groups like ClickFunnels and all that. See what are the topics that people are always asking again and again. What are they willing to pay for? Another one is you can take a look at the Facebook advertisements that are being run by competitors or people that operate in that market. How many of them have been running for weeks or months to an end? Okay. Now, sometimes just be careful. Sometimes some people may run advertisements for a long time. Doesn't mean it's necessarily successful. I heard people laying out traps to mislead people. Things like that do happen. But at least this gives you an indication of what people are willing to buy and what are they looking out for. So to give you a much more recent example, just the month before this, I got into the Malay language market. And one of my products is called Machine Commission, or it's about affiliate marketing. Now, here's the thing though. The idea of doing affiliate marketing is not really well celebrated in the Malay language market. And I'd like to think I'm probably one of the very few, if there is, all right, that's over there. And but that's also based on research, because what I did, and by the way, my research is not like based on figures or like you must go on Keyword Planner and all that. I just go on based on sentiments, like what are these people feeling right now? Ironically, I had another product called Machine Jualan Internet, or also known as Internet Sales Machine, where it's about how to create your own sales funnel. That didn't do well, okay? But I have not given up on it yet. I'm still doing my experimenting. I'm still testing out the message. But you can see between these two products, the market, in the Malay language market, they're looking for something a little bit more easy and like you don't really need it, like get so sophisticated, okay? So one thing you have to pay attention to as well is called market sophistication level. I'm not going to talk about it because that could be a topic in itself. But what you can do is you can Google Mind Valley market sophistication level, because they were the ones that wrote this article a few years ago. There are basically 5 stages of market sophistication, where the higher the level, the your market, your message has to change accordingly as well. To give you a very quick example, if you go back to the 80s or 70s and you try to sell a computer, you have to really explain a lot back then, like what would a computer do for my life? People were not convinced. Today, if you're going to sell a computer, you don't go like, do you know what a computer is? I think, Gerald, if I talk to you that way, you'll probably give me a tight slap because that sounds very insulting today. Okay, but if I were to try to sell you a computer today, I'll probably go on the features and probably brand positioning already, not like the 70s or 80s where this is what the computer can do to ease your life. I mean, nobody talks like that anymore. So the market sophistication level has changed. So something for you to look at as well before you actually go and create a product, because if you adjust it too low, you're going to sound very insulting. You adjust it too high, it's going to go over people's heads as well, and you're not going to get any customers. So it's got to be at the right market level.
That's true. And so what you did, if I can kind of like summarize it, is that you basically go to forums. I mean, one of your strategies, and you find out what are the hottest topics. Can I say find out what are people's problems and challenges?
Yes.
And what do they want? What do they need? And you just provide the solution to them.
Correct. Yeah, that's really the name of the game. Entrepreneurship is basically getting paid to solve a problem. That's it.
Yeah. Exactly. That's true.
Yep.
That's what Elon Musk do. Okay. And so let's talk about lead generations. This is something that you're doing literally full time now. I can say, like you help businesses, offline businesses, to generate leads, and it's something that's very, I would say, is very highly sought after service right now, right? And especially now during pandemic, a lot of offline businesses are affected. They are closed down and they got to put the tape and all, and so many SOP. It's a different world now, right? So you currently help businesses to generate endless qualified leads with sales and social media, without technical skills, their own products, brand building, or even being famous. So probably the question is, in your opinion, why do businesses struggle to get leads online?
Right. Very good question that you're asking here. But allow me to clarify one thing really quick, is that although you're talking about Muse Spencer being an agency, I had to say in the last few months, we have gotten a lot more selective with our clients. So we don't work with that many anymore. But it's more like general sentiment at the time. I mean, I might change my mind about it next time. But one thing that's always ongoing is that we do train other people or other businesses to do it. It is actually preferable, and I'm doing it from a very pragmatic point of view as well, because ultimately, if you can do it on your own, it's still the best, actually. But of course, there are two types of people. There's one that's willing to do it themselves, and the other that's, can you do it for me? And we recognize that there's these two types of people. It's just that on a personal or on a company level, we prefer to just work with a few clients now compared to more people like what we did 2 years ago. All right. But with that said, to answer your question about why a lot of businesses struggle with leads, I can empathize with that and I can resonate with that very well, because that has been my problem without realizing it all these years. If you go back to the product launches, right, we were relying on other people, our own small village of affiliates and joint venture partners. And why did we depend on each other? Why were we sucking up to each other all this while? All right. I think, Joy, you have probably been through some of your own unpleasant experience before. And even for me as well, it was difficult to, even with the best intentions, I couldn't support everyone, because let's say you, Gerald, you wanted me to promote your launch on this particular date, but there's another one or two people that have approached me for the same date as well. And I got to make tough decisions. Do I support Brother G over here because we're good buddies in Malaysia? Or do I support that guy because he was number one in my affiliate program the last round as well? Or the other guy is not too bad. Just because he's number 3 doesn't mean he's anybody. He helped me longer than that. So I got to make all this dilemma. I don't know if you have arrived at that. Okay. And because of that, I was kind of fed up with the product launch market or the culture that I was in. I could keep talking about it. There's actually a lot more weaknesses than I'm actually letting you on. But why were we doing launches? Why were we sucking up to each other? It's because we needed the leads, if you think about it, or we needed the customers. And the thing that occurred to me at the time was, so the name of the game, right, is getting more customers. And before you get customers being converted, right, you need to get leads first, all right? Because people don't just end up becoming a customer. I mean, yes, there's some fortunate ones, some strange people maybe, but that's maybe a 5% conversion at best, okay? Or 10% if you're miraculous. That still leaves 90 to 95% of people who are not sold on you yet, okay? So the name of the game here is to get the leads first before we talk about anything else. No point having a deep sales funnel if no one's going through the front door. So because of that, I realized that was our problem. That was why I got into Facebook advertising, and hopefully, not hopefully, but we need to start not resting on our laurels. We need to get YouTube ads and other ways and be ready to adapt. Okay. So when I looked into this, then I realized that we were not the only ones with this problem. Okay. There were other businesses out there that were facing the same problem. In fact, worse than what Newsmancer or internet marketers have to endure. Think about it. Let's just take properties as an example. The typical way to get buyers or tenants, right, is guess where? iProperty.my in Malaysia. Okay. And if you're not doing anything below a premium listing, you can forget about it. Okay. And it's so cutthroat and bloodbath that people were haggling each other for buyers and tenants. And I know it because when I sold my house 2 years ago, I saw something very weird happen. I was quite lucky to go with a trustworthy real estate agent. I was very fortunate. Okay. And you see, even though I knew how to do Facebook ads at the time, right? There's no point running a Facebook ad just selling one house, if you know what I mean. Okay, you still need to go through an agent no matter what. All right. And there's a lot of, I've not sold a house before, and I just wanted to get out and go back to renting. So I'm not interested in profit even. It's more convenience. So when my agent listed up the property, I got a suspicious lady ringing the doorbell because I was staying in a townhouse area, which you might probably know about it. And in my 5 years of staying there, nobody looked me up purposely. Okay, that was the only time someone looked me up on purpose. And she claims that she could bring me a buyer. She was ready to bring someone with a guy with her, with the condition that I sign an exclusive arrangement with her and forget about my own agent. And I thought that was a very weird thing to do. Okay, I could go into a long story about that, but my intuition told me something is very wrong. And I'm glad I didn't take it because I wanted a buyer ASAP, but I'm glad I delayed gratification. But even then, also 2 months later, I still got a buyer anyway. So thankfully, I didn't agree to that. So why were people doing this kind of things? Is because, right, they're all fighting for leads, fighting for customers. Okay, that's why a lot of people are struggling and they're all stuck in the old ways. It's already 2020 or even 2021. At least in Malaysia, a lot of people are still using traditional advertising. Not long ago, I saw someone, two different companies, they are proud about advertising on billboard ads. Now, I mean, they got a good deal, then more power to them. If it's a vanity publishing and they're willing to spend the money, then that's okay, all right? But if you do, the way I see it is that if you have the money, right, I'd rather just throw it all into Facebook ads and get my results. I'm not looking for vanity. I'm not looking to be famous whatsoever. In fact, I kind of like try to stay away from doing those kind of things. I was a lot more outgoing last time in terms of like speaking on stage, get invited, try to appear in a newspaper. That was kind of me last time. Now I just couldn't be bothered about it because that is what we call vanity marketing or vanity publishing. It's just a feel-good thing. And at least let my mother know that I didn't appear in the wrong place in the newspaper. That's all. You see? Yeah, so that's why a lot of businesses are struggling right now.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go to the next question over here, right? Which is I'm really curious. I want to know, right? Assuming that you have to start all over again. Okay. And I mean, with the knowledge that you have today, really, right? What would you do to earn your first $100,000 in the shortest amount of time? What strategy would you use?
Okay, very good one. Oh, many ways to slice a cake. Okay, let's just say I'm kind of down to like being the last person left. All right, and all I have is just this laptop. And okay, whether it's 100,000 or whichever. Okay, let's just go with 100,000 right now. Okay, so what I would do is make an offer on my Facebook profile. That's it for a start. Okay, let's just say coaching is out of the way right now because I'm trying to make this a bit more grounded in a sense that I don't think you can teach what you don't know. That's just kind of where I'm coming from right now. All right. But I do have some skills, a particular set of skills, like what Liam Neeson's character and Taken said, okay, particular set of skills. And I could run your advertisements for you, all right, and start looking for clients. Now, is this going to be a long-term thing? Of course not, okay. I could be doing copywriting as well. So I'll start with my own Facebook profile or Facebook groups that I'm part of. In fact, if anyone thinks this is theory, this is exactly what I did last time to start Newsmancer. This was in 2014. And at the time, I wanted to start a company with a full-time office, with a premise, with employees and all that. And then I realized that in the long run, my own income will not be enough to sustain everybody. So I needed something a bit more extra. And what I did at the time was I made an offer to do copywriting. So at that point in time, I have not offered copywriting service in years already. And I have to admit that at the time, I thought copywriting was beneath me. I thought it's something like long time ago, shouldn't do it for other people anymore. But again, like I said, you don't want to be keeping this kind of ego where it holds you back somehow. And what I did was that I offer copywriting. So at the time, I landed a client. I hope some of you remember her. She was the founder of the page builder called Insta Builder 2.0. The late Susanna Teresa. She's an Indonesian woman. Unfortunately, she has passed away in 2017 or 2018. She passed away, unfortunately. Yeah, but I got her as a client. So at the time, I charged a bit modest. Even for me at the time, I normally charge higher than that. I charged 2005, but I did a good job. And she gave me more copywriting business after that, which eventually resulted in $10,000 and a free, all expense paid trip to her event called DBA, Dream It, Believe It, Achieve It. So she ran 2 events. I was one of the invited main speakers as well. It was a really, really amazing, fun time as well. I think if she were alive today, she will continue running this kind of events as well. But I got my breakthrough doing that, okay? And she was not the only one, of course, but I'm just giving you the highlight. I used my Facebook to make my offer, copywriting service, just talk to people. And once I make the money, of course, I pour it back into the business. So guys, if any of you like have nothing going on right now, right? Don't think about doing a business. I know this might sound a bit weird to say this right now. Don't think about a business right now. Go think of something that you can freelance at the moment. Get the income in first, and once you make the income, right, portion some of it to build your email list. All right. Yeah, I know some people might be thinking, what the heck? I thought you keep talking about social media and all that. What the hell are you talking about email list right now? Because guys, no matter how you're running Facebook ads, traffic, and all this, right, at the end of the day, you want to have control over the list. So you don't own your fans. You don't own the people in your Facebook group. Mark Zuckerberg owns them, not you. So the only way you can own them is to get them onto your email list. And that's also about the less annoying way of you to keep reaching out to them again and again as well. So if you think about it, right, you're taking on both fronts, them on social media and them on email as well. So yeah, that would be what I would do to sort of like climb back my ranks again in the fastest time possible, and something that's also doable for other people. Because I could talk about webinars and all that, but let's be frank, that takes time to set up. That takes a bit of more skill, takes quite some testing and things like that. So I'll go the freelance route.
Or like freelance offering services. And in fact, copywriting, I've seen people charging high 5 figures. In fact, if I remember, they're even 6 figures just to write one sales page. It's a very lucrative niche, I would say, copywriting, for really high level ones. All right. And so, all right, we'll come to the next section, which is getting to know you better. Kind of want to know you on more on a personal side. And the first question is, who impresses you the most? Or rather, yeah.
Okay. Okay. I know you've asked me this before, and to be very frank, I'm drawing a blank right now. Or you know what? This is something I'm a little bit shy, or I have reservations about mentioning this. I mean, this kind of things do change every now and then. If you ask me the same question a few years ago, it's probably going to be somebody else, okay? But I want to talk about right now, okay? Normally, I shy away from politics because at the end of the day, I think you and I know as entrepreneurs, we can't really control what's going on out there. We can only adjust to what's going on and respond to the problem accordingly, okay? But in the world of Malaysian politics, I think, things have been heating up in the last couple of years, especially. Tables get shifted around every now and then. And I think if I mention this right now, I'm not going to be popular with quite some people. And who impresses me at the moment is a politician by the name of Najib.
Serious?
Yes. Okay, but not for the reasons you're thinking of right now. Okay, I know things will always develop, and as of the time of this video that we're doing right now, he has been found guilty by the courts, but he's still going through a couple of appeals at the moment. So I think to non-Malaysians, you might find it a bit hard to relate to this, but to give you all a very quick crash course, Najib had been accused of a lot of things, chiefly the 1MDB fiasco, in the last several years that led to his downfall. All right. Now, again, he has been found guilty right now, and he's got 2 more appeals to go. What will happen to him eventually remains to be seen. All right. But let's take the good out of what we're seeing here right now. You see, if you are in the shoes of Najib right now, and you've been slinging a lot of mud in your direction and in your face. Imagine being accused. Can you imagine that he's surprisingly very calm and collected for someone who's been actually massively accused? Have you noticed that?
Oh yeah, he's enjoying his life right now.
Exactly. So I think, right, these are some of the values we can actually learn from people like him. Is that you can be wronged a lot, right? And he's got inbuilt a lot of patience. Of course, I suspect that he has a social media team that runs his Facebook page. I suspect that a very good one, by the way. So another lesson is you want to get A-listers to work with you. So that's a very good important lesson over here. And you see, despite being accused of being wrong, right, he's been surprisingly patient. And just imagine, 2 years ago at this time, he was one of the most hated people in Malaysia. Today, he's won hearts and minds from a lot of people, chiefly the Malay segment. All right, and that's not easy, by the way, because imagine if today you're a very hated person, and to win people back on a second impression is not easy. And to me, I think that's really amazing to someone like me, because I have to admit, I don't seem to win a lot of people on first impression. But when I look at some of the people that got to know me today, or are good friends with me today, I noticed that normally I didn't start out things well with them. They don't have a good initial impression of me, but I win them on a second impression. And I had been wronged many times. I had been accused as well. And I think it's important to you guys, when you do business and as you get successful, there will be people, trust me, that will sling mud in your direction, and even though they are unfounded. And I think, Gerald, you probably have experienced this on your end as well, that you've been through a lot. I knew you before you were successful, and you tried doing quite a number of things before you discovered e-commerce was your game, after all, was your core strength. And now there are people that might have accused you as being the guru, and you're a scammer, but you and I know that's just not true, because you had earned your chops, all right? And we have seen you earn your chops as well. And I think practically, maybe my mind you might have missed out because you came in later, all right? But the thing is, there are people that told me, oh, Edmund is probably a scam guy. He's just out there to get other people's money. And of course, I want your money, by the way, but of course, in exchange of value, right? But they don't understand how things work. And the people that call me a scam and all that. But dude, the thing is that I came from a 56K modem. I had a close shave with being evicted many times. I got into trouble quite a number of times, every now and then as well. I mean, just because we're doing better right now doesn't mean that trouble stop coming. In fact, our problems get bigger and bigger, all right? It's just that, are we a bigger person to handle bigger problems? That's just kind of where I'm coming from. That's also why, to also add on to more people that I'm impressed, I'm also impressed with people like okay, no one in particular. Those hotel owners, the gas station owners, the airlines. Maybe Tony Fernandez, as an example. I mean, he's done quite a bit of F up as well. But let's look at it from an entrepreneur point of view. They are still able to keep the show together. All right, and they're responsible for the lives and the livelihoods of their employees. And they didn't bail out. All right, they didn't do that. And to me, when I look at this kind of entrepreneurs that are running a bigger business than myself, this is what impressed me the most, that they didn't bail out at first sight. And sometimes they might get wrong, they might get accused, people have misjudged them and misunderstood them as well. And they've been surprisingly patient. And to me, I'm not really a patient person. I can get quite worked up very easily, if I can just be honest with you guys. But these are the values that impress me a lot.
All right. Wow, interesting answer for this. Okay, so next one, how is Edmund Loh different today than 2015, 5 years ago?
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know where to start really, but I'm just going on a self-evaluation right now. Back in 2015, I think I was just like 1 to 1.5 years into running Muse Mensa at the time. Things were a lot more humble. So yeah, I will put it that way. So after that, I started working with more people. Rather than just work inward. So if I were to just draw a distinction, what I was doing at the time was working in the company or in the team inwards. We were not really talking with other people so much other than joint venture partners. Now is that it's not about me anymore. In fact, I kind of, Edmund Loh saw him. If any of you watch Star Wars, I know Star Wars hasn't been really good, especially the sequel trilogy. To me, sequel trilogy doesn't exist, okay? But I'm sure you might recognize the character of Luke Skywalker. He's the hero of the original trilogy, okay? So back then, I mean, some of you might see yourself as the hero, and I kind of like saw myself as the Luke Skywalker of the time. But today, I don't see myself as the hero anymore. I kind of see myself as the Yoda. That means I'm the or Liam Neeson, the Qui-Gon Jinn, the guy who's leading other people. And I think this is a very important evolution, because a lot of us, I guess, when we start out, we see ourselves as the hero going through the journey, and there's nothing wrong with that. But there comes a point that eventually later, once you get more successful, what's going to happen next is that you're going to find yourself being a leader or someone that other people look up to you as well. Like in my case, my mentorship students look up to me. I've got students looking up to me as well. I've got employees looking up to me as well, which came naturally. It's not because I'm putting myself on a pedestal, but it came naturally as well. And at that point in time, you don't want to see yourself as a hero anymore. You got to see yourself as a mentor figure to other people. So Edmund Loh 5 years ago is more of a Luke Skywalker. Edmund Loh today is more of a Qui-Gon Jinn or a Yoda kind of guy. That's kind of like the difference I'm seeing right now.
All right. And so where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
5 years, okay. Now, all bets are off, I guess, especially after what happened this year. Now, normally when people ask me, where do you see yourself 3 to 5 years, I'll be very frank about it. I don't know, really. Because if I asked myself 5 years ago, I wouldn't have guessed this is what we'll be doing right now. You and I talking and going back to working from home again. All right. I imagine if I go back to 5 years ago, I told Edmund back then, you're still working from home. But I didn't realize that I would have gone into events and all that. So frankly speaking, I do not know. But if I were to say what I want to happen 5 years from now, all bets off. What I want to have all 5 years from now. This is going to sound simplistic, yeah. I will reduce most of my debt to go back to zero debt again. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, isn't Edmund making a lot of money right now and all that? Shouldn't he not have debts? Truth of the matter is, we do accumulate debts because of cars, house, and all that. That was why I sold my house away. I still have my liabilities, like the house that I'm paying for my mom in Johor, for example, and I still got a dream car to come along and all that. But what I want to aim for is to have worry-free, because I read this. Maybe it's something for you to read it to, Gerald, because you're also a family man. Someone wrote this in okay, this might sound a bit ironic. I read it in Chinese, but I used the Google translation, okay? But it made a lot of sense. I don't know who it was. If you're in your 20s or 30s, right, you normally chase for, like fast cars, glamour, success, and all that. But by the time you reach 40s, right, or maybe 50s for that matter, you know what would be a lot more impressive at the times that you have no debt. And I thought to myself, you know what? Now that makes sense, because I came from a no debt previously. After I made my money, and there was no debt after that, and then I accumulated debt through buying a house, buy a car, and all that. Then I realized, no wonder I felt like I missed something, and that was a simpler life back then. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm going at, because 5 years from now I'll be 39 to 40, and that would be great to go back to zero debt again. I mean, other than running a business and all that goes without saying. But to not owe anyone or any bank money anymore, that would be great.
That's a great feeling, definitely. Let me just add on to this question. Like, do you have any specific goals and targets or dreams that you would like to achieve in the next few years? Probably joining a parkour competition or growing Muse Spencer to, I don't know, 100 people, employees. Or, do you have any specific dreams, goals?
All right, just a couple. This one hasn't changed, right? I mean, despite what I told you, I think you know this part about me is that's still to get a BMW i8. I still want to get that.
Right?
Yeah, I still want it. But here's the thing, though. I know that cars are a liability and they will not age. In fact, as of this time, the i8 has stopped production already. They ran their 6-year lifespan, which is surprisingly short, because BMW normally runs for 7. They ended by 1 year. But I know I'm not going to drive this car forever. Probably just drive for a few years and then sell it off. That at least be able to achieve that, because I know it's a liability. But I want to get that down while I'm still alive. That's number one. All right. Number two. Now, in terms of like having a huge employee business, that has never been my dream. I know some people like that, but that's other people's dream. So just a heads up, I know some people right now, they are starting a company because other people are doing it. And I think that's a wrong motivation. I've never intended for Muse Spencer to be like a massive company in terms of employee size. In fact, the size that we're at right now, which is 4 full-time, I think maybe 5 or 6, that would be a very good size already. And I intend to leave it at that, because I want it to be a hybrid of a lifestyle business and also be able to scale at the same time. So that's a very good number where I'm seeing it right now. And on a personal note, and this one hasn't changed. But I think this year, we can't really fly anywhere, and that's to join an airsoft milsim. So milsim is like a war game, in Europe, because in Europe they only have this like hundreds or thousand people war game. It's just crazy, and that has always been my dream. The closest I've done is in Indonesia with 150 people. That's the closest I've been to. But I would still like to go to Europe because the level of game over there is sophisticated. It's a lot more intense. They don't just play 24 hours. It can even stretch for 3 days as well. And I want to be able to have that stamina and mental preparation to go for whether it's a 1 day or a 3 day full-scale war game event in Europe.
So the airsoft is like you have a gun. It's like you're one person. It's not a team event, right? And just to shoot everyone.
It is a team event. You'll still be joining teams. Yeah, but when you have like hundreds of people or 1,000 people event, it's not unusual, by the way. That kind of thing can happen. So think of playing Call of Duty or Battlefield in real life, but except you don't die. Okay, you still come back to work on Monday.
Okay, all right. So with that being said, right, we come to the final question of the closed door session. What are your final words of wisdom for everyone's watching this, and they also want to build a successful online business just like you? And what are your advice for them?
Yeah, let me stroke my imaginary beard. Imagine I'm paying me right now. Okay, now here's the thing though. I mean, it's strange when people ask me that kind of question because it's like some kind of like Sifu or something like that. But okay, I'm just speaking not as a guru or someone smarter than you or anyone else out there. I'm just speaking as another student who's doing internet marketing. I see myself as a student even to this day, and learning is always ongoing. But I'll tell you what's really important right now, especially this year and moving forward. A few things. Number one is, instead of focusing on resources, be resourceful. So I know that some people say, I got no money, I don't have this, I don't have that, I've got a lot of problems, and I may not have a lot of resources. Some people may say it that way. And I think most important is be resourceful. All right. If you look in the world of dating, right, or relationships, right, you see women are more attracted to guys that not necessarily have a lot of resources, but they are resourceful. And they always find resourceful guys to be a lot more attractive than a guy with just merely resources. Something about being resourceful is quite sexy, and it's also very practical. So you can't go wrong with that, okay? So be resourceful. Think in terms like, okay, we have this problem right now. What are the solutions? Is there anyone I can talk to? If I don't have it, is there someone I can talk to? Is there a Facebook I can go to? Is there a YouTube video I can go check it out, all right? If you cannot afford mentoring at the moment, do not use that as an excuse. Look for something. Always be looking, okay? Always be resourceful. That's number one. Number two, it's no longer the survival of the fittest anymore. It's the survival of who can adapt the fastest. And I think that's the reason why we are able to be very flexible with what's going on in the world today. It's not so much because we're internet marketers. I mean, tomorrow, or what if next year, Facebook just like stop working the way it does anymore. Just like at one point in time, Google AdWords started to become very expensive. But if you know how to do Facebook ads when it was new, then more power to you. All right. So even for us, we finally got Facebook down. And I have to say that compared to Gerald Soh, I'm a late bloomer when it comes to Facebook ads. The problem with that is, right, because I've been doing my way of doing things for so many years that when Gerald was newer, he caught on a bit faster. That's just my suspicion right now, okay? And as for me, because I was so set in my own ways that I had to unlearn and be willing to let go of what used to be the right answer. And if you thought that was a bit bad enough, right, there are people that started during my time. You don't hear of them today anymore. They do not know how to do Facebook ads. The way they do copywriting is from 10 years ago, 20 years ago way of doing things. That the way they write, who the hell writes that way anymore? Okay, so it's a bit scary when you look at people that become yesterday's news or has-beens. This is not to insult anybody, by the way, because I could have gone out that way. And you might want to do a checkup from the neck up, whereby, look, maybe you could be very successful today and some things might change tomorrow or next week or this year. A lot of things have changed. And you have to be willing to accept that maybe what used to be the right answer is now the wrong answer. And it's time to move on. What if next year Facebook is no longer a thing anymore? People may have, okay, for the fun of it, TikTok. I think TikTok is bullshit, to be honest, right now. But if just at one point in time, people thought Facebook was bullshit. Remember that? People thought Facebook was bullshit. Instagram was bullshit. But today, people that have embraced it are making millions of dollars. So what you think is bullshit or not bullshit is irrelevant. Does it make money or not? Is it relevant right now? Is it going to be the thing? And be willing to change. If you can change faster, fantastic, okay? And yeah, I kind of just want to end it there right now. Be resourceful and be willing to adapt. I think these are two attributes that will move people a great deal of move the needle in your business.
All right, all right. Very, very wise advice for everyone here. So I totally agree with you, right? And in fact, talking about resourceful, right? I always tell my students, right? Like, yes, I do kind of like sometimes spoon feed them, do some, give them bonuses, done for you stuff and all. But it's also very important as an individual to be resourceful, right? To be
Yeah.
independent, So as mentors, you and I, right? We have students, right? Rather than we teach them, rather than we give them the fish, we also teach them how to fish. So from
Yeah.
their side, they also need to be independent. Like, okay, I have a problem. Like, okay, how do I buy domain names? Like this simple stuff. You don't need to like trouble Edmund just for the simple questions. You can YouTube, search in
Oh
Google,
yeah.
right? So kind of like, I mean, I learned this the hard way when I have my first ever mentor. I think I can mention his name, Patrick, right? So that's how
Yeah.
he picked me up, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So like simple questions or rather silly questions, don't waste his time, right? Like kind of
Yeah.
like find the solution myself. So that was how I was, groomed up, so to say. And so yeah, be resourceful and learn to adapt. You never know,
Yeah.
right? Things are always changing. So with that being said,
Exactly.
Edmund, yeah, yeah. So with
Yeah,
that
if I
being
can
said,
just add one more thing, because I know this is going out to your inner circle of group of people. If I can just add one more thing on Gerald's behalf as well, is that not if, but when things go wrong or things don't go as planned, right? Please don't go and blame Gerald Soh or any mentors you work with, because there's one very strange habit I'm starting to pick up, is that people have a habit of blaming their own mentors, and I think I think like Gerald and myself, we have learned from a lot of people, whether it's the same people or different people. And it's not a smooth sailing, by the way. It will never be. Does it make things better? Yes, but is it 100% problem free? No. The business will not build by itself. All right. And people like Gerald, people like myself, we guide people. All right. And when things don't go your way, don't blame your mentor, because I've spent a lot of money. Joe spent a lot of money. It never crossed my mind to blame the person above me. It just never crossed my mind. And for all you know, I mean, can you imagine burning bridges with people like Gerald Soh? You score him and say, oh, he's a shit mentor and all that for whichever. Okay, Joe's just as human as everybody else. Okay, he makes mistakes. I make mistakes as well. But I can tell you one thing for sure: his method works. Mine works as well. And we're operating from a position where we do want our people to succeed, our clients, our mentees to succeed, because you failing doesn't serve Joe anything at all. In fact, it just makes him look bad. So he's got to make you successful as well. But don't blame other people, because I get people like blame anyone else, and to me that doesn't make sense. Can you imagine burning bridges with all these people? And what if these are your missing links to creating your next seven figure? You screw up with Gerald Soh today, and it affect your butterfly effect. You go down the wrong path, and you won't see that seven figure in your lifetime. Can you imagine that, just because you're not happy with Gerald Soh's one or two minor mistakes, or he just didn't get back to you in the time that you wanted? But I believe Gerald is actually quite a timely guy. But I just want you to understand that don't be quick to blame your mentors. That is a very it's a fallacy, all right? Just don't do that, okay?
in fact, I mean, for the fact, don't blame anyone else for
Yeah,
that
man.
mentor or your parents or your siblings or anyone or friends. I think if if anything happens, you, I wouldn't say blame yourself, but you got to just admit your mistakes if you did make mistakes, right? Got to just admit, and just kind of like reflect on yourself. Oh, what went wrong? Maybe this is how I should do it. This is how I should change, and so on and so forth. So yeah, just to add on that.
All right.
So with that being said, guys, I hope you enjoy the closed door session with Edmund. A lot of golden nuggets. If you need to watch 2-3 times, go ahead, because there's so much that he has shared. His 15 years of experience in this industry. It's very rare that you can find people 15 years and still surviving, still thriving, and still doing so well. If you've been around, I've been around 9 years right now, ninth year, 2012. And I've seen so many people, the old gurus or whatever you call it, they are no longer anymore.
Yeah.
In fact, Edmund is still around after 15 years, and still doing so well and looking so much younger.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that says a lot on itself, right? So, with that said, Brother E, thank you so much for the amazing session.
You're much welcome, Brother G.
So with that being said, take care, everyone. Edmund, thank you so much. Have a great day.
See you guys. Bye.